Hi, friends. So, all this separation has really exhausted me, and especially this past week, I've noticed I'm just tired all the time and not interested in doing some of the things that I love doing and spending less time playing with my girls. And it's hard not being able to, but realizing that it's gotten to me and I'm this way is even harder. And I think in a lot of ways, it's the separation, it's the distancing from people. You know, they call it social distancing, but when you go out in public, it's almost more like social awkwardness, right? Like you're not sure who to make eye contact with, and if you need to get around somebody at the grocery store, there's all this strange maneuvering, and you can't see anybody's face, so you can't tell what their body language and what their face is saying when they're talking. It's just weird. Everything feels so separate. And I think part of my depression right now is just loneliness. You know, I'm surrounded by four of the greatest people on the earth, and yet most of the time I just feel alone. And actually right now I can't even go outside because the pollen is so bad that I turn into a bubble boy, and I have to, put myself under the covers, and you could probably hear it and see it in my puffy eyes right now. It's not even morning, and I'm acting up. My allergies are acting up already, so I have to stay inside. All that being said, it's had me thinking more about that verse we chose on Easter Sunday for the first reading. It's from Romans 8. And what Paul says, he asks a question, which is always interesting when you're writing a letter, because there's not an opportunity for people to answer back, right? He says, can anything separate us from the love of God? And it's almost this jest reminder, like the answer. If you've been living the Christian life long enough, you've heard that sermon thousands of times, that God's grace is for you and with you always. And yet, we still find ourselves in these emotional moments when we're down and depressed and feeling lonely. And I think it's because we often put the love of God on our circumstances. And we think, if we feel lonely, we must be apart from God. But Paul goes on and he answers the question, right? He doesn't just want to hit a single, he wants to hit a grand slam. He says, can anything separate us from the love of God? No. I believe that nothing can separate us from the love of God. Not heights, nor depths, not angels, nor demons, nor strife or fear, or even death. Nothing can separate us from the love of God. And he goes on and he reiterates it again and again and again. If you take a look right now, go read Romans chapter 8. The whole thing is just reaffirming that nothing can separate you from the love of God. And so part of that is just activating the parts of your life that are happy and joyous and grateful for what life is right now. Part of it is reaching out for help where you need help, for giving yourself some gentleness when you're tired or lonely and letting yourself feel those things. I think for me, I'm such an optimist and such an extrovert, and I'm always energized that when I feel down, I often feel worse when I realize I feel down. So don't get down on yourselves. There are people that want to help you, and they want to show you the love of God. There are ministries available. We have this devotion and worship services online. If you need help, call the church and hit extension 245. And our Thrive team would love to listen and talk and remind you of the love of God that is always with you, that this pandemic can't separate us from, that your isolation in your home can't separate you from, your inability to go out can't separate you from the love of God. Nothing can separate you from the love of God. Remember that. Remind yourself of that. I'd say even repeat that today. That'll be my mantra today, to repeat to myself when I'm feeling low or disinterested. Nothing can separate me from the love of God. Amen. Thanks for listening, my friends. Keep looking up.